Okay, beautiful people, welcome to the December 2021 test review. December 2021 EST Literacy 1 Writing. Again, there are no mistakes that I see in this exam. Everybody complaining about mistakes. This is actually one of the better tests released by the EST. If there are mistakes, let me know. I solved it. I made a 43. I don't see any problems. So we're going to begin with passage number 1, opportunities in engineering. Well, another note, warm up your brain قبل ما تحل. So قبل ما نخش المحاضرة بتاعتنا بكرة, make sure you solve one passage before you enter to warm up those little brains of yours, or those big brains of yours. Let's begin. And بحب أقرأ الباسج برضو. If you skip through the passage, you're going to make many mistakes. So it's unacceptable to skip around. احنا ممكن نكسل, but please remember, skipping through the passage will cost you points. Let's begin. It is becoming more and more an accepted fact that engineers or physicians or lawyers, like our poets, are born and not made. I believe this to be true. Educators generally are thinking seriously along these lines, with the result that vocational advisors are springing up, especially in industrial circles, to establish eventually yet another profession. So let's go to this question here. Question number 1. The author's considering removing the underlined sentence. Should the sentence be kept or deleted? Remember, when I keep, it's because number 1, the sentence is on topic. Number 2, it adds extra details to my topic. When I delete, it's because the sentence is off topic. So let's read this sentence. Instinct is defined as a natural and innate inclination towards a certain behavior. Instinct leads young men to enter upon certain callings unless turned off by misguided parents or guardians, and as a result, think the hunch works out successfully. Philosophers from time immemorial, including Plato and Emerson, have written of this still small voice within. Okay, so I ask myself, what is this sentence doing? This sentence is defining. What is it defining? It's defining instinct. So I ask myself, is this on topic? Is this related to the topic of the passage? Well, the topic of the passage is engineers are born, not made. Okay, well, now they're giving me the definition of instinct. Is this necessary for me to understand that engineers are born, not made? I don't know. So let me check my answers. Answer A, keep it. It serves as an introduction to the next sentence. Okay. I mean, do I really need an introduction to the next sentence? I don't know. Answer B, it provides a definition for the term most used in the text. So answer B is incorrect because it's telling me a term most used in the text. However, this term is only used in this paragraph. So answer B is incorrect. Answer C, it disrupts the progression of ideas. Again, question mark for me, because right now, let me go back, erase some of these notes. So if I go to the beginning of the paragraph, if I go to the main idea, I find that it discusses they are born, not made. I believe this to be true. He tells me why he believes this is true, and then gives me a definition of instinct. Okay, And what about D? It is besides the topic. This is not the best reason to delete information. The more specific an answer is, the more specific an answer is, the better. I'm not going to keep this sentence because I feel like a definition in the middle is not helpful for me to understand the main idea of the author. I'm left with C or D. I will go with answer C. Answer C is a more specific reason as to why this should be deleted. Saying it's besides the topic, okay, but how is it besides the topic? And so answer C tells me how. And this is why answer C is a better answer. It disrupts the progression of ideas. Let's go to question number 2. Which of the following terms best suggests the main idea of the passage? Now remember, what is the main idea of the passage? That engineers are born. That is, it's an instinct, something inside of you. Let's continue reading. Philosophers from time immemorial, including Plato and Emerson, have written of this still small voice within and have urged that it be heeded. So what does heeded mean? To heed means to obey. Disregarded means ignored. Accepted means to agree. And noted means to recognize. Now, I'm going to eliminate answer B and D. Right now, we're discussing instinct. We're discussing the small voice inside of you telling you to do something. Now, there's a difference. Remember in vocabulary class? We said in vocab, the word you choose will affect the message of the author. So now, is it heeded? Is the voice heeded? Or is it accepted? Accepted means you take it as a part of you. Heeded means tisma wa tuti'a, right? To obey it. And this answer A supports the main idea that this voice needs to be heeded, that you have something natural inside of you and you follow this natural calling. Let's go to question number 3, the easiest question in this passage. This is a verb question. With a verb question, we follow tense and agreement. I read the sentence. I find what is the tense of the sentence. Loves, does. I see the tense is in the present. I follow tense, check. Present tense. All of them are in the present form. Next thing I do, I follow agreement. Every city, that's singular, correct? So now I need a singular verb. So I eliminate answer A and answer C. Those are plural. And then finally, simplicity. The simple verb is the best verb. We just took this lesson, Malik, Muhammad, and Lara. My answer is B, needs. Easy, direct, simple. Let's go to question number 4. Another easy question. This is a pronoun question. The profession of engineering, therefore, has its type. You may be of this type, or you may not. The type is quite pronounced. However, and you need not go wrong in your. Pronoun consistency. We are talking about you. So we choose your, the second case pronoun. Any other questions here? All questions in the end. No need for questions right now. Now, question number 5. Although it looks tricky, it's really not that tricky. Okay, so let's pay attention here. Rough, comma, rugged, comma, gray-eyed, semicolon. With frames close-knit and usually squat, semicolon. Generous with money and unconcerned as to the luxury, as to the future, semicolon, living each day regardless of the next, and living it. So here, what do we have? We have a semicolon list. For my students who have taken grammar with me, you should know the semicolon list is nothing strange to us. When do we use a semicolon list? When a list is very complex and when commas cause confusion. Well, what do you mean by this, Mr. Osama? I know this is a list, so we should have commas. Well, not in this case, because if you look at answer B, rough, comma, rugged, comma, grayed-eyed, comma. You see this first part? This is list number 1. And then we have another comma here. So we're separating list number 1 with a comma. Let's see the next phrase. Close-knit and usually squat, comma. Generous with money, comma, and. Do you see the confusion here? With frames, this is list number 2. Generous with money and unconcerned. This is list number 3. Living each day of the next, comma, and. Each list here has an and. So if I'm using commas to separate lists from other lists, it causes confusion. So instead of using commas between each pairs or phrases or lists, I can use a semicolon. A semicolon prevents this sort of confusion. I'm going to say answer B is incorrect. Obviously, answer C is incorrect. Why? Rough, rugged, gray-eyed. This is a list. We need a separation of words here. So answer C is incorrect. And then answer D, well, the first list is correct here in answer D. Rough, comma, rugged, comma, gray-eyed, semicolon. But then the rest of it is still confusing. We have number 2 here, separated by comma. We have number 3 here, separated by comma, just confusion. So my answer here is answer A. We'll use a semicolon list when you're dealing with a complex set of phrases, and the comma causes confusion. Number 6, another very tricky question for me. This passage number 1 was a tricky passage, but you have to understand the message of the author. Let's continue reading. I say the steel worker is as different from the clerical worker as the circus driver is from the blank. What are we? Yes, Karim, it's clearly very complex. So here, what are we comparing here? That the steel worker is different from the clerical worker. These two workers are very different. So the circus driver is also different from, well, let me check my answers. My answer A, cleric, maybe, right? They're telling me how different these workers are. The circus man, I don't know. Engineer, off topic here in this situation. We're comparing workers, and worker is too general. I went with the answer A with the cleric, because here we're talking about the cleric workers and the cleric whatever. So this is the only one that matched or followed the parallelism of answers. Let's go to question number 7. Now, this one was not as hard as you might think. Why? If you read the sentence, you're going to find in sentence number 7, this fondness. Where is it? Having this fondness. This is your key word or key phrase to identify where this sentence should go? And where should this sentence go? Well, let's continue reading. He must like to figure, to use a colloquialism, and his fondness for it must be genuine, almost an absorption. Now, notice here we're talking about fondness, okay? Now, let's continue reading. It must reveal itself to him at an early age. What is it? We're talking about the fondness. So we're still continuing this idea. As early as his grammar school days, for then it will be known as genuinely a part of him, and the outcropping of seeds correctly sown by his ancestors. Okay, now, having this fondness for mathematics, here in sentence number 1 or sentence 2, it talks about fondness. Well, I don't like answer A. Why don't I like answer A? Because the sentence continues into sentence 3. So we're still continuing the idea of fondness. We're still continuing the idea of fondness. And we're still explaining the idea of fondness. And then we can use here this fondness when I'm done. So sentence 2 and sentence 3 complete each other. Well, what do you mean, Mr. Sima? This is where you have to read sentences together. So here, he must like to figure, to use colloquialism, and his fondness for it must be genuine, almost an absorption. This fondness, must reveal itself to him at an early age, too, as early as his grammar school days, for then it will be known as genuinely part of him, and the outcropping of seeds correctly sown by his ancestors. Having this fondness for mathematics, which may be termed otherwise as a curiosity to make concrete ends meet, the working out of puzzle is one evidence of the gift. The young man is well armed for a successful career in the profession. He will like mathematics for its own sake, and when later on in college and later still in the active pursuit of his chosen work, he's confronted with a difficult problem, yada, yada, yada. And I also want you to notice, people are going to tell me, well, why not here, Mr. Sema? Why not keep it as no change? Well, I'm going to tell you in this sentence, a curiosity for math, a curiosity to make ends meet, a natural part of the engineer is also continued in sentence 4. Well, how is it continued in sentence 4, you may ask? Let's find out. It tells us here that he will like mathematics for its own sake. So this fulfills the curiosity portion. This is why in answer 7, I said the answer C after sentence 2. Remember, this sentence must fit before and after. They come together. Number 8, which of the following best supports the author's position on engineering skills? Well, the engineer is curious. The engineer loves math because he loves math. The engineer is born as a natural mathematician. So now we're looking for a word that supports the idea on instincts that's based off of curiosity, off of fondness, love, right? Off of an instinct, something natural. So when the engineer is facing a problem, he will attack it neutrally. Well, neutrally really doesn't give me the idea that the engineer is curious and loves Mathematics. Well, I don't like answer A. I'll put it as a question mark. Now, he'll attack it eagerly. Let's just eliminate C and D. Inadequately, not enough, and grudgingly, like hateful. So let's eliminate answer C and D. Let's go with A or B. And neutrally means without emotion, but there's love. So I would say eagerly. Eagerly indicates excitement. Number 9. Which of the following best, which of the following has the best sentence structure in the whatever, right? This one was very arbitrary. The successful engineer, I think this is the one I got wrong, right? The successful engineer must be a man who likes to shape things with his hands. Okay. He need not always do it, comma, and probably will not after he has attained recognition, comma, save only as he supervises or makes the mechanical drawings, the picture of the thing. Well, in this sentence, I chose answer D, I think, originally. This is the one I got incorrect. So it's really important to analyze what is the difference between A or D. All right, I'm going to look at B, C first and eliminate these two. He probably won't need to do that after he is recognized, save only as he supervises or makes the mechanical drawings. That is the picture of the thing. This is choppy, poor style right here. You wouldn't really write in this way. The commas also cause a bit of confusion. All these commas. Remember, if there are too many commas in the sentence, I'm talking about 4 or 5 commas, excuse me, then replace these commas with semicolons if it's a list or dashes if it's non-essential clauses. Remember, the point of the comma is clarity, to be clear. So I don't like answer B. It's not clear. All of these commas are very ugly. Answer C, it's called choppy, by the way, a choppy sentence. Until after he has attained recognition, he need not always do it. Do what? Attain recognition? So answer C changes the meaning of the sentence. So I'm left with answer A or answer D. I chose answer D, but that also changes the meaning of the sentence. Let's read it. He need not always do it, comma, save only as he supervises or makes the mechanical drawings, the picture of the thing, comma, and probably will not after he has attained recognition. So I feel like the message here is changed. Answer A, allegedly, is the better answer. I chose D. I felt like answer D was the best because we made a non-essential clause in the center. He need not always do it and probably will not after he has attained recognition. However, according to the answer key, the answer is A. Let's see why. He need not always do it and probably will not after he has attained recognition, save only as he supervises. Okay, there is a difference in meaning. And answer A tells me does not need to do it and will not except for. So answer D changes that meaning. So مش يعملها واحتمال مش يعملها except when the author does كذا كذا كذا. So one of the rules we want to pay attention to is to preserve the meaning of the sentence or save the original meaning of the sentence. Number 10. If a young man be of those who early like to crawl in under the family buzzwagon, semicolon, tinkering there for half a day at a time, semicolon, emerging in a thick coating of grease. Another semicolon list with complex phrases طبعا, with our semicolon list, we need some sort of parallelism. So answer A is not correct. It's not parallel. To crawl, tinkering, emerging. This is not parallel. We need to crawl, to tinker, to emerge. Answer B also is not parallel. Crawl, tinkers, emerge. Wrong there. Answer C is not parallel. Answer D is parallel. Number 11, according to the information in the graphing and the passage, which of the following provides the best concluding sentence to the passage? Well, let's check this out. I continue reading. Now, you should be doing this. You shouldn't skip and jump to the graph. And why do I tell you this? Because each answer has a different transition. So it's really important to understand relationships. He may never do this, as I say, in all his engineering career, but the yearning must be as much part of him as his love for mathematics. So much so that all his engineering days, he will feel something akin to envy for the machinist who works over a machine of the engineer's own devising, and it must be vitally a part of him. So here in the, excuse me. So here it's telling me it needs to be a part of him. And then this is like an example of what needs to be a part of him. You're born engineer, and these are all of your characteristics. Answer A. Therefore, there are 5 different qualities naturally born engineers must possess. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 qualities هم and 5 qualities موجودين. Question mark. B. There are 5 different qualities that any person pursuing engineering as an adult must work on. No, because you're born with these qualities. You don't just work on these qualities. Answer C. All in all, any born engineer must possess one of the following. One of the following? No, the author tells us there's been 5 موجودين. D, that is to say, engineers are born with certain qualities, just like poets, and their job is to foster them from a young age. طبعا answer D is incorrect. عشان ما قاليش ايه هو ال 5 qualities دولت, you go with answer A. Okay, December 2021 test, passage number 2. This was about some sort of politician who overcame racism to become something important in the American government. So let's speed up this review. Let's go to question number 12. Remember, read the passage. It's important. Anyway, so here, that honor belongs to Charles Curtis, an enrolled member of the Kaw Nation, which served as President Hoover's vice president. You have to ask yourself about the pronoun. What are we referring to in this pronoun? We're not referring to an event. We're referring to Charles Curtis. Therefore, we cannot say which. And whose is possession. For whose to be correct, it needs to come with a noun. That's incorrect. And to see whose means who is or who has, right? Obviously, who is served doesn't make sense. Who's served? My answer is B. Number 13. There was a teacher that said there was a mistake in this question. Unfortunately, there is no mistake in question number 13. Let's read the sentence. Prejudice against Native Americans was widespread and intense at that time. Curtis's ascent to the office speaks of his skillful navigation and political system. You have to understand the message of the author. The author is telling us because of Curtis's skillful navigation of the political system, comma, prejudice against Native Americans was widespread. So here we're dealing with cause and effect. The cause is here, and the effect is here, right? It's kind of an inverted sentence, depends on style. طبعا we won't say answer A. A is a comma splice, كده كده. We would say answer B, our cause and effect. His ascent to the position is a testament of his skill, right? We won't say and or but, these aren't correct conjunctions, therefore is our conjunction, this is our message. Because of his skill, he ascended to a good position. Let's go to question number 14. His rise also tells of a broader story of how prominent Native Americans viewed how their communities should assimilate within a predominantly white society and government. Assimilate means infuse. We took it yesterday in vocabulary, means integrate, right? Means to become one with something else. So did they assimilate? Did the communities mix together here? We would say they did assimilate. Abstain means stop yourself. Accommodate means like to help or give special requests. They're not accommodating. Acquaint is get to know. And we're not doing that here. What we're doing here is we're assimilating. The communities are mixing together. Let's go to question number 15. Another pronoun question. Who are we talking about here? In number 15, we are talking about Curtis. So therefore, number 15, we're going to say the answer is C. Let's go to number 16. Another very easy question. Curtis was born in 1816 to a white father from a wealthy Topeka family. No need for punctuation. Remember, you read the question and ask yourself, what is the mistake? These semicolons and colons and commas cannot come before the preposition, right? Born to. You cannot split that phrase. Number 17, notice the different phrases. Growing up and with the years that passed, redundancy. So I'm going to eliminate answer A. He spent time living with both his sets of grandparents, and for 8 years, he lived in the Kaw reservation. My answer is going to be B or D. I'm going to eliminate answer C because right here is redundancy as well. The message is different in answer B and D. Growing up, we're talking about tarbiyatu, his childhood. As years pass, we're saying something like time was wasted or time passed by. We're talking about his childhood because he spent time living with both sets of grandparents. So growing up is a much better phrase to get the message across. Number 18. I'm gonna just continue reading, Adi. You read until we reach here. The author is considering deleting the underlined phrases. Should we keep or delete this phrase? I continue reading from here. The federal government forced the Kaw South in Indian Territory, which would later become Oklahoma. The adolescent Curtis wanted to move with his community. According to his Senate biography, his Kaw grandmother talked him into staying with his paternal grandparents and continuing his education. So should we keep this? Of course, we should keep this because Dulwati, we're talking about his childhood fil passage and how Curtis was able to live with white people. And so here, Curtis wanted to go back to his community, but his Indian grandmother said, no, live with your white grandparents and continue the education. So definitely we should keep this. Why should we keep this? Because it supports the previous claim. I don't really think it supports the claim, but the main idea of the passage. All good, right? If you're going to tell me B, it's a counter argument for the previous claim, there is no counter argument here. Counter argument is I have a theory and I have something that disproves that theory. This is not a counter argument. And then answer C, it contradicts information written in the paragraph. No, because the main idea of the passage is because Curtis lived with white people as a Native American, he was able to overcome obstacles. So this sentence supports that idea. Number 19, I read عادي. Let's go to question number 19. Although the racist treatment of the Kaaba white Kansas, many whites were obviously willing to vote for Curtis. So number 19, we have although, despite, however, moreover. I would eliminate however and moreover. A transition here is incorrect because we have a dependent idea and then an independent idea. And also, just so you guys understand, if you have however at the beginning of the paragraph, that means it contradicts the previous paragraph, not the next sentence. Just keep this in mind. But here, it connects sentence number 1 with sentence number 2. So location of the transition is the difference maker. So we will not say answer C because we're not contrasting the previous paragraph, we're contrasting these two ideas. And then the next thing here, A and B, although is a contrast, despite is a contrast. They mean different things. Although is like a black and white idea. Although he's tall, he plays basketball, like an exception to the rule, right? However, despite means regardless. غصب عن حاجة. Despite his effort, he did not do well. Or despite his love for his fiancée, she left him. Two things going against each other. So this is the idea we have here, B. Despite the racism, white people still voted for Curtis. Number 20, which choice best connects this paragraph to the main idea of the previous paragraph? Now, what's really important here, although it tells me connect to the previous paragraph, it needs to be connected to the previous paragraph. بس برضو the topic sentence. And as a topic sentence, برضو لازم يقدم لي الباراgraph ده. So it's a double function here, like a bridge. It connects point A مع point B, ولازم يبقى mix ما بين الاثنين دولت. So if you did not read this paragraph, you would have gotten it incorrect. So let's read answer A. Throughout his time in Congress, Curtis also consistently pushed for policies that many Native Americans today say were a disaster for their nations. This is correct. This mustaha. Correct, bas. This does not connect to the previous paragraph. It only connects to the next, or the rest of the ideas. In previous paragraph, بيقول popularity بتاعته, and he was popular with white people and became a government official. So answer 20 is a half answer. We need the previous with the next paragraph. And this is why we will go with the answer D here. Although he was popular, many of his policies were a disaster. B, half answer. C, off topic. Number 21, which of the following terms best describes the legal writing of Curtis? When you make a law, you're talking about a law. You don't sketch it, you don't write it, you draft it. Draft, يعني first copy. And then بقى بيروح لمجلس الشعب to be redrafted into a second copy. بعدين بيروح السنة يبقى redrafted again, you have a third copy. So when you draft or when you write something, you're drafting it, you're planning it. Number 22. This one required a little bit of thought. Right here. Curtis also supported Native American boarding schools in which children were taken from their families and denied access to their own languages and cultures. That's terrible. Comma, abuse was rampant. We're dealing with two ideas. I'm going to eliminate A, comma, splice. I'm going to eliminate D, run-on sentence. Now we have a colon or a period. You have to know the function better. Are we dealing? We have an independent colon, but do we have an explanation or an elaboration? No. We have another idea. So I would went with the answer C. Abuse is rampant. We are on passage number 3 of December 2021, Literacy 1, EST exam. Let's begin. Stay awake too long. This passage, just a summary. They want to understand sleep and they find creatures with let's say, simple systems also need sleep and also get disrupted from sleep disruptors. So let's begin here. Thankfully, a few winks of sleep is often enough to get our brains to ascent. Ascent means to rise up, like spiritually. No. To expect functioning. Again, a meaning هنا يعني assume or predict. No. To accept. Accept means يعتذر. No exception. To accept. Right. To agree to functioning. Number 24. Another pronoun consistency question based on their findings and previous reports regarding jellyfish. We can say that sleep evolution is independent of brain evolution. We need a first person pronoun. Therefore, our, not we, not their. Our findings, we can say. So pay attention there. That was one of the easier questions. Just find the matching nouns or the matching pronouns. Let's go to question number 25. This is a verb or gerund question. But hydras provide an easy to handle creature to further investigate the detailed mechanisms produced sleep in brainless animals. I mean, even if you read this, if you go by the sense, it sounds strange or weird. But if you don't, right, if your sense is weak, you'll recognize this as a run-on sentence. Why? Hydras provide, mechanisms produce, right? Even the tense is wrong, just so you guys know. Like the tense should match up. Hydras provide, right? Hydras have. So this should be in the present form if you choose it as a verb. So A would not be correct. B will not be correct because of the tense. And if you chose C, the detailed mechanisms has produced sleep. No, should be have. And even if we did have produced or produces or produce, it would still be wrong because now you would have a run-on sentence. Grammatically, kida kida. So you're left with D, make it a gerund. Remember, step 1, you check grammar, and then step 2, check meaning. So grammar with verbs. Step 1, we check tense. Step 2, we check agreement, simplicity, and meaning. We cannot have a verb here, kida kida. The tenses are all wrong. Agreement is wrong. And even if tense and agreement were correct, grammatically, it would still be wrong because it would be a run-on sentence. Number 26, which of the following best suits the tone of the passage? Obviously, the passage here, it's formal. excuse me, it's formal, it's scientific. So therefore, number 26, with answer A, the brainless animals, with no true meaning to their existence, إحنا مالنا, existence or not, that's informal. Why are you belittling? This is belittling, bisaga, right, or mocking an animal. This doesn't fit the tone of the passage. Monitoring the marvelous brainwaves. I mean, again, this doesn't fit the tone of the passage. It's formal, it's scientific, it's dry language. While sleep is often monitored on the measurement of brainwaves, this is not an option for tiny, brainless animals. I like answer C. Taban, answer D also is unacceptable because it tells us they have no wits. And by doing that, it's also a mocking sort of language. We'll go with answer C. Number 27, which of the following describes the delicate scientific process? We're not slowly dissecting. We're not opening them up. To dissect means to open. Doesn't really follow it right. This one is the best sort of language to carefully track. Simple, direct, formal, nothing too much here. Number 28, which of the following phrases best fits the author's conclusion of possible reduced movement? Answer the question. This was a hard one. Why? There are two answers you should have. I think answer A or answer B. Answer C and D are off topic. Because right now, it can have possible reduced movement. Answer C tells me no effect, so that's wrong. And answer D is unknown. Again, no, it's wrong. So I'm left with answer A and answer B. We need to answer the question. The question is telling me possible reduced movement. That means mumkin all, mumkin not. The answer is A, which could be disrupted by a flash of light. This indicates possible, maybe yes, maybe no. Answer B is incorrect because it tells me it can only be suspended by light. This is not possible. This is ba'akid. Possible means maybe yes or maybe no. Who knows? So therefore, could fits what's required in this question. Number 29, which word choice is most in line with the paragraph? There's a little mistake here in my answer choices, but it's okay. It's all good. So here, exposing the hydrous to melatonin, a commonly used sleep aid, moderately increased the sleep amount and frequency, while the dull neurotransmitter GABA, another chemical linked to sleep activity in many animals, greatly increased sleep activity. So what does GABA do? It increases sleep activity. So what would we call it? We would not call it dulling or unrestricted. We'll call it inhibitory. An inhibitor is something that inhibits, something that stops. So here, the inhibitor or GABA stops activity and increases sleep activity, stops brain activity. Number 30, I really hate these questions on the EST exam. Where should the sentence be placed? They usually take the longest to solve. Understand the topic here. Right here, we're talking about how to disturb the hydrous sleep. Cool? So we can't say answer A, because in sentence 1, promote sleep. We need disturb sleep. So we cannot say A or B. So eliminate answer A and B, because these are about promoting sleep. So now I'm left with answer C or answer D. Look at sentence number 2. While some sleep mechanisms appear to have been conserved, others may have switched function during the brain. Okay. But now in question number 30. Investigating more closely, the researchers found that sleep deprivation led to changes in the expression of 212 genes, including one related to PRKG, blah, 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 blah. So here, number 30 is an introduction to sleep deprivation. It's a general idea. Furthermore, researchers could use vibrations and temperature changes to disturb the hydra's sleep and induce signs of sleep deprivation, causing the hydras to sleep longer during the following day and even suppressing cell proliferation. And then here, investigating more closely, the researchers found the sleep deprivation. So in sentence number 30, it introduces sleep deprivation, what causes sleep deprivation. And then sentence number 3 tells me they look at sleep deprivation more closely and they give me more specific examples of what causes sleep deprivation. So here with question number 30, I went with the answer C after sentence number 2. Number 31, disrupting other fruit fly genes, appearing to share a common evolutionary origin with sleep-related ones and hydras, altered sleep duration. What is my subject? Disrupting. What did disrupting do? I have one dash and a verb. So obviously in question number 31, A is unacceptable, subject dash verb, it's a fragment. Answer B gives me a period at the end here, very strange there. Oh no, right, that's a fragment as well. Oh, I'm confused. So I was a bit confused there. Right there. I'm like, why aren't the answers matching? So here, question number 31. Investigating more closely, researchers found that sleep deprivation led to changes in the expression of 212 genes, including one related to PRKG, a protein involved in sleep regulation in a wide range of animals, including mouses. What in the world? You cannot say mouses. You cannot say mouses. This is an abnormal plural noun. Answer C is incorrect because S apostrophe. لازم يجي بعديها noun, not a comma. You left with answer D, including mice, fruit flies, and nematodes. Now, question number 32. We said the problem in question number 32 have a subject dash verb, very common fragment. Answer A is incorrect. Answer B, subject dash dash verb. My answer is B. Answer C is wrong, subject comma dash verb. Wrong there. Answer D, interesting one. Disrupting other fruit flies. Okay, so answer D, appearing to share a common evolutionary origin with sleep-related ones. This is a very interesting question. I chose answer B right away, but why would answer D? Usually the double dash and the parentheses have the same function and the double comma. I would still go with answer B. Non-parenthetical element. I don't know why they would do this to you guys. I'm gonna do some research on this, see the difference between double dash and parentheses. But if you have a double dash versus the parentheses, choose the double dash. I would at least. Number 33. The author wants to conclude the passage by leaving room for future scientists. This one was one of the easier questions. We want to leave room for future scientists. We want to say other people can study this phenomenon as well. Let's read the sentence. That being said, there's still much more to explore in the brainless creature in relation to sleep patterns, but a scientific base has been built for future scientists to build upon. And the answer A is very self-evident. It tells us other scientists can study because of this research. Okay, passage number 4 of the December 2021 EST exam. Let's begin. Question number 34. The research, comma, published in Health Affairs, comma, contributes to a growing body of literature finding that children of color who are also poor face greater health inequities. Subject, comma, comma, verb. I like the structure here. And to be incorrect, عشان هنا عندنا comma verb. That's a fragment. Answer C is incorrect. عشان هنا بيقول لي the research, comma, publishing. ing modifier is for people. طبعا the research مش بيعمل publishing. It's someone else who did it, right? And also we're missing a verb here. So here we're dealing with a fragment as well. And answer D is a problem because we have a comma verb. That's a fragment. You can't just have one comma verb. You need double comma verb. The answer here is answer A. Number 35. Oops. Which words fits a sensitive language? So this goes back to your ability to understand the effect of words. It's not appropriate to call people poor or penniless. This is very inappropriate language and including substandard status. It's very inappropriate. It's very wrong. The way to properly say poor people is lower socioeconomic status. Answer C. Answer A, B, and D are insulting answers. Number 36. So now, in the previous information, Taban read the passage, they did some sort of experiment. And what did they do? Number 36. After analyzing and correlating the results according to where the children lived, comma, the investigators found. So they analyzed and then they found. This is why we say answer C. After analyzing, they found. Chronological order. Number 37. The underlined pronoun refers to which of the following? Here, number 37. What are we talking about? What is the passage talking about? The passage is talking about children. Answer is A. It's not talking about adults. It's not talking about neighborhoods. It's not talking just about Black children. It's talking about children in general. So keep this in mind. This is too specific of an answer. And of course, we won't just say Black children, we'll say African-American children. Number 38, another verb question. What this study, check tense. What is this study doing here, number 38? Well, they are evident. Any other verbs here? Underscores. So a lot of verbs tell me present tense. A maybe. B no. Oh, A is not a verb, I'm sorry. A is adjourned. No. B no. Future. D no. Past. C. Present. Check. Number 39. Halfin also is a professor of pediatrics, comma, public health, comma, and public policy. It's a list. What's the problem? There is no problem. My answer is A. Everything else is fragmented as a list. Answer D is a run-on sentence. Number 40, which choice best fits the writer's main idea in the previous two sentences? So of course, I need to read the previous two sentences. Let's read them. What this study shows is that these patterns of inequality are clearly evident and measurable before kids start school. Hoffman is a professor of kaza kaza kaza, the Fielding School Public Health, and this, that, and the other. The report also blank the value of understanding child developmental inequities at the most micro levels. So which idea supports the main idea in the previous two sentences? Underscores means to highlight. And I feel like this is a good word because the study shows, says that in the beginning, what the study shows. So this would be some sort of underscore or highlighting. Lacks means missing. We're not missing anything. And the study does not ignore anything and assesses. Well, it sounds correct, but there is no assessment at this point. Now they're talking about the results of this assessment. So I went with the answer A, what the study underscores. Number 41. The author's considering deleting the underlying quote. Should the quote be kept or deleted? Well, here, because the EDI is not only reported at, but also linked in the census tract level indices of neighborhood risk, the measurement tool helps cities and local grassroots efforts develop targeted supports and services to address racialized disparities. Well, this is a good question. They made a study about what the EDI is about. How do I know? If I read my answer choices, keep it, the quote supports the main idea in the first paragraph. Well, I went back to the first paragraph and it tells me why the EDI is important. So I liked how it goes back to the first paragraph and I went with answer A. And by this time I was tired, right? Is it connected to the first paragraph? It is, very directly. Number 42, which option, if inserted here, best supports the previous statement on the validated use of EDI? The EDI tool was developed by Dr. Ann Alford and Dr. Magdalena Janus at Alford Center for Child Studies at McMaster University, Ontario, Canada, and has been internationally validated and used widely in Canada, Australia, and other nations. The EDI was first piloted in 2009 by UCLA in Santa Ana in partnership with First 5 Orange County. So it's asking me about the previous statement. In the previous statement, it was piloted in 2009 by UCLA, University of California, Los Angeles. So they used it in Cali. Well, my eyes immediately lit up with answer A. Over the past 10 years, UCLA has enabled city and school district leaders in over 85 communities spanning 18 states to assess the health, development, and well-being of more than 350,000 kindergartners. Why do I like answer A? They tell me how EDI was used in UCLA. So I went to the answer A. Everything else, the piloting of EDI was a groundbreaking phenomenon. Answer B does not go back to the previous sentence. Answer C does not go back to the previous sentence. Many schools and districts all over America were supportive to the use of EDI. We need UCLA. This is the previous sentence. Answer D does not go back to the previous sentence. Number 43, which one provides the best transition? This was really hard, right? This was really, really hard. I had to read this maybe 3, 4, 5 times before I could find an answer. And how did I find an answer? By connecting the quotes. Someone is talking. Notice the quotations here. Notice the quotations. It continues here. So I need to see the connection between these two sets of quotes. These findings not only highlight the equity challenges we face, but also reveal the truly inequitable design of all systems responsible for ensuring that children thrive. Blank. Only by addressing the historical exploitation, exclusion of marginalized communities can we begin to repair the pains. So here, I find this is the cause, it is unequal, and this is the effect of this, of the cause. So basically, because the situation is unequal, we need to address the historical problem. So I went with answer B, thus. Thus, only by addressing the historical exploitation, we can fix this problem. And finally, question number 44. Not too hard, right? Question number 44. Only by addressing the historical exploitation and exclusion of marginalized communities, comma, can we begin to repair. Is there a problem here? I don't see a problem. I went with answer A. Answer B, putting a hyphen between marginalized communities. This is not a compound word. Answer C, a comma between an adjective and a noun is a fragment. Answer D, a semicolon between an adjective and noun is a fragment. My answer is A. That was it. All 4 passages.